Hey losers, I'm Coral. Welcome to my channel. If you are joining me for the first time, I like to read things that are weird and gross and scary. So if you're into that, welcome to the party. Today though, I am going to be ranking one of my favorite authors' books. At least as far as the books that I've read, I think there might be one or two that I haven't. One is like a nonfiction about kung fu movies, and the other one is out of print and currently very, very expensive. So I think it's going to be reprinted, but that hasn't happened yet. So I can't read it and, consider it in this ranking. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books here. We're talking Grady Hendrix today, by the way. And I'm going to be going from least favorite to most favorite, but this was really hard because I really, just like baseline, like all of his books. There's not one I've read, like some other authors I really love, where I'm like, wow, I hated this. It's like they're either good or they are top tier, my favorite books of all time kind of books. So it's complicated a little bit. And I don't want you to take this as a you shouldn't read his stuff or you shouldn't read these ones. If you are going to read his books, this is just my opinion based on what I've read, what he's written, in my own opinion. So coming in at number 9, we have Horrorstor by Grady Hendrix. This is about a haunted IKEA, basically, right? Like a big box store where they sell furnishings, furniture, household items, etc. This was the one that I started with way back in like 2016, 2017 maybe. And I love the format of this. It looks like a catalog. I mean, you open it up, definitely mixed media. It's got these, each chapter is named after a like fake furniture name, and they're all kind of in the style of IKEA where it's like kind of Scandinavian looking. But like this, there's this little flyer in the very beginning. There's like a catalog order form. Each chapter has, like I said, a piece of furniture and a description. And the furniture items get like more and more kind of sinister as the book goes on. So this is good. It's funny. It's quirky. It's just number 9 on my list. Then we have The Final Girl Support Group, which came out in 2021. This is number 8 on my list. And I liked this one, just number 8, like I said. This one follows a support group for women who in the past were targeted by slasher-like killers. And in this kind of like universe, it's like the girls from the slasher movies that we've seen, like franchises like Scream, Friday the 13th, Silent Night, Deadly Night. The girls who survived those movies are real, and of course they have this trauma. So they don't all really like each other, but they attend these meetings because it's like only they can understand what they've gone through, kind of a thing. One woman in this group thinks that there is a killer that is now coming for all of them, and some of the other women think she's just kind of a kook. This trauma has affected women in different ways, of course, the women in this group, and I liked this one, just not quite as much as some of his other books. I feel like I had a hard time connecting with this main character, which is surprising because I think Grady Hendrix writes really relatable characters, or characters that you feel feelings for. And in this one, it just wasn't quite as strong as his other books that I've read. I didn't feel as connected to this character. Number 7 on my list is Badasstronauts. This is a novella he wrote that came out in 2012. So I think this is one of the first things that he had published. I like this one. This one's funny. It's just like it just wasn't one of his novels, but this is about a man named, what's his name? Walter, who is a former astronaut And he has like a nephew, I think, who is now like currently stuck in space, and NASA has no plans of going to rescue his cousin, and I think there's like one other person up there. So Walter's like, you know what, we're gonna do it. And he gathers this crew. He calls his redneck NASA. It's like family members, people who want to help out, and they have a plan to build a rocket into space. So it's really, this one is like high on the quirky meter, and I really like this. It's just not as much as some of the other things I've read, which I can stop saying because I think we can all determine that based on my rankings. Number 6 on my list is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, which came out in 2025. This is a story of a 15-year-old named Neva who is pregnant. Her family decides to hide the pregnancy from everybody else and sends her to a house for unwed mothers, which is not the greatest place. It's like the girls there have really lost all of their bodily autonomy. It's not great. And while there, Neva gets her hands on this book of the occult, and it's got some spells in it. And her and some of the other girls decide maybe these spells would help our situation. And does it go well? Does it go poorly? You'll have to read it and find out. I liked this one. I thought that the topic is so important to speak about. And not only that, but like it feels like this could unfortunately be something that could go, like, could become relevant again, which is really sad. Just the state of things in our country. This takes place during the 70s, which I really enjoyed. But it was very long, and it felt long, and it didn't have some of the quirky personality that I find in his books, and some of the humor and some of the spookiness. I kind of chalk that up to the seriousness of the subject of, you know, these teen girls forced to be somewhere they don't want to be, forced to give up their children. And, you know, that's really sad. And so, but then also there's that, like, that's also part of what makes me like this book, is that there's like a ton of heart in it. Then we have Paperbacks from Hell, which came out in 2017. This was with help from Will Erickson, and this is a reference book. This is kind of like the history of the horror boom, book-wise, in the 70s and 80s. It's got stunning pictures in it. He goes over some of the books in here with his like typical Grady silly writing that makes him so personable, you know? So he's broken them up into like Satanic Panic books, Animal Attack books, books about music, etc., etc. So this one is really fun. I've actually reread this, and yeah, like it's a lot of fun, but it's not a novel. Number 4 on my list is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. This came out in 2020, and what a time for a book to come out. This really starts the countdown for like my favorite of Grady Hendrix books. And in some ways, these could really all be number 1. You know, these are my favorites. These are what I think are his best books, the ones where I feel the most connected to the characters. I love the stories. I love the struggles that they go through. I love the endings and the redemption. This one is about a small, I think they're in like South Carolina, maybe Charleston. They're in Charleston, one of the Carolinas. I can't remember what Carolina that's in. I don't live in the Southeast. So, what am I saying? It's this little group of moms who I believe are all like homemakers, and they have this book club, and at first they're reading, well, okay, so at first, if I'm remembering right, they were part of another book club, and they're like, this isn't really what we want to read. We want to read the salacious stuff. So they break off some of these women and form their own book club where they're reading things like books about Ted Bundy, kind of. And they're really enjoying themselves. So like that is the start of this. And so they're reading all this like dirty, gritty true crime, and someone new moves into their neighborhood, and the main character in this is a little bit suspicious of him, even though he's like handsome and charming. She's like, there's something up with this guy, and what could it be? We all know, right? So it's great. It's frustrating. The way that some of the people treat the women in this is just like so frustrating. Just very much a thing where it's like women aren't taken seriously. Women's ideas aren't taken seriously. Women's troubles and fears are not taken seriously. And that's very frustrating. But it has, oh my god, a super excellent ending. Number 3 on my list is How to Sell a Haunted House. This came out in 2023. And I loved this book. This is about a woman whose parents have both been killed like very quickly in an accident, very tragically, like suddenly, I guess I'm trying to say, not necessarily quickly, unexpectedly. And she has to get along with her brother for long enough to figure out what they're gonna do with their parents' house. And they have like a really contentious relationship as siblings. You really hate that brother. You're like, he is such a jerk. I hate him. He's the worst. He's entitled. He's the worst. Like all these things that this character is telling you, like also his actions show. So you're really frustrated for a lot of this book, but weird things are happening in their parents' house as they're trying to figure out and agree to what to do with it. And their mother has this like puppet collection, and maybe some of the puppets are acting up. So it's very creepy. Why would this be happening? Is this really happening? And it gets, oh my gosh, there are some real super gore scenes in this that made me go, oof, you know, I hate it, but I love it. So really unexpected ending, you know, not something I would have seen halfway through the book, and a lot of like character growth and things like that, like really sad. It's something about generational trauma too. It's just really good. Number 2 on my list is My Best Friend's Exorcism. This one came out in 2017, and this is the second book of Grady's that I read. I love this edition. It looks like a yearbook. It's even got like in the back the like kind of booster sections, I don't know what they call them, where ad space is bought by companies to say congratulations graduates. It's got like these pictures in it. This is the story of Abby and Gretchen, who are best friends growing up in the 80s, and after like a little party with some of their friends, Gretchen and Abby go into the woods, and Gretchen comes back, and they both come back, but Gretchen coming back, she starts to act really unlike herself, like drastically different. She's always been somebody who's been really put together, on top of her game, and now she's like not showering and just being really weird. And Abby begins to suspect that Gretchen was possessed, and what would she do to save her best friend when nobody will listen to her? It's really sad at some parts, it's really joyful at some parts, it's so heartfelt. This book, I don't know how, it's like he channels these people, and he somehow channeled like the way being a girl and having like a best friend feels. It's like one of the most intense, intimate relationships that I feel like you can have. It's crazy when I think about it. Like, my best friend growing up, we're not best friends anymore, but like, she's still kind of still my best friend, even though we don't talk all that often. Not that there's animosity between us. We just ended up growing apart, unfortunately. And I still, like, sometimes when it's like the most important or horrible or like hard things happen in my life, I feel like she's the only one I can talk to about this, because she has this like guidebook of things that have happened in Coral's life, you know? She has like all this history and knowledge about my childhood that like nobody else has. And same with me for her. So I don't know how he did it. He just fucking nailed it. This book also made me cry. In first place, my, I think, favorite Grady Hendrix novel is We Sold Our Souls. This one came out in 2018, and boy, this is just like a balls to the wall journey from start to finish. This is about Chris, who is, or was, a part of this metal band when she was younger, and they were just about to make it big when their band broke up. But their lead singer went on to like be like, I don't even know, who do we even compare him to? Maybe like Ozzy? He like went on to be like Ozzy, right? Like a superstar. Everyone fucking knows who he is. He's still making music like 20 years later. I think it's like 20 years, huh? I don't know if it exactly says. And however, the rest of the band is not doing well, including Chris, who I think she works like at a hotel. So it's very, I mean, not that like you're not doing well if you're working at a hotel, but that's not somewhere she wants to be. And she's having a hard time. She's in a rut. She's a middle-aged person in a rut in her life and doesn't know what to do about it. So she happens to talk to like one of the other band members, who starts on this like conspiracy theory that the lead singer, who went on to be Ozzy-like, did this to them on purpose. And she at first is like, huh. And then maybe it starts to make sense. But is this a conspiracy, or is this something that really happened? This like, it's, I just felt like you're just kind of ambling along for, you know, the very beginning of the book. You're trying to get a feel for what's going on, and then something happens and it's like 90 miles per hour down the rest of the road. It's so crazy. I loved it so much. The names, the chapters are named after metal songs. We've got Theater of Pain, Countdown to Extinction, Holy Diver, Appetite for Destruction. Some I don't even like know who wrote those songs. They're not familiar to me, but this, like, as somebody who grew up with metalheads for parents, this felt like so nostalgic to me, and would probably feel even more nostalgic for someone who is growing up like in the 80s and 90s. Although like I think their band was together in the 1990s, but a lot of like, I feel like a lot of the metal references are from the 80s in this, you know, maybe some 90s too, but I feel like, you know, like Dio, that was in the 80s, for example. And I don't know, I just really loved this. I felt really connected to the main character, Chris. She kind of reminded me of like an amalgamation of my parents in some ways, and maybe that's why I liked it so much. But I just thought it was like so cool, so fucking groovy, and I just fucking liked it. I think it's my favorite Grady Hendrix book. But also, like I said, the like top 4 really could be interchangeable. I just love them all so much. All of them I enjoyed. I think Grady Hendrix is one of the best authors writing today. And he's not the only one, of course. He's just one of the best. I really am like so gleeful when I see when like one of his new books are announced, and I like really selfishly hope he continues writing for a long time. I would love to have like shelf fulls of Grady Hendrix books. And yeah, so that's my ranking of Grady Hendrix's books. I'd love to know if you enjoy his books, what your favorites are and what your least favorites are. And I don't know, hopefully I'll be doing this with other authors. The thing is that I have to have read like their books that they've published, and sometimes that's feasible and sometimes it's not. So, but that's all I have today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Goodbye.